Okay, in this section, we're going to talk about what is a function and what is not a function. So, you can identify if it's a function and what is not. Identify what function notation looks like, which we talked about in our introduction video, and then tell what the domain and range are and what those are being used for. Okay, so first we are just going to start off with if it is a function or not. And we talked about that passing our vertical line test. So a function is a function. A function is any table, equation, or graph in which the x values do not repeat. So if you see a table, then and your x values repeat, that means that it's not going to be a function. Well, from a graph, it won't pass this vertical line test, which literally means that you can put a vertical line anywhere on your graph, and it's only going to touch that graph at one point. So, if we look at this first example right here, if I put a vertical line, so a vertical line is up and down, anywhere on this graph, it's only going to touch it once. So if I put a vertical line just there, not any of these other ones, it only touches it once. If I put it here, it only touches it once. If I put it here, it only touches it once. If I put it here, it only touches once, and here only once. So this is a function. And make sure that you justify why. So this passes the vertical line test. And I'm not going to want to write that out all the time, so I'm going to abbreviate vertical line test as VLT. Okay. I'm going to put that on here. So we are going to abbreviate this as VLT. Okay. Okay. So looking at this second one, if I put a vertical line here, it only touches it once. But if I put a vertical line here, it's going to touch at two different spots. So this is not a function. And that is because it does not pass the vertical line test. Okay. Okay, this one. So if I put a vertical line on this graph, if I put one over here, it's not going to touch it at all. So that wouldn't count. So if I put one here, it is touching this in all these different places. So this is not a function. And again, that's because it does not pass the vertical line test. But let's look at this a little bit more in detail. So I want to show you what a table would look like. So if I create a table for this, I've got points at 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 0, 3, -1, and 3, -2. So again, in our definition, a function is any table, equation, or graph in which the x values do not repeat. So if I'm looking at the x values, these are all the same x value. So our x values repeat, which that means that it's not a function. Okay. So number 4. So if I put a vertical line anywhere, so the big question is going to be this one right here. If I put a vertical line right here, does it cross twice? And the answer is no, which means that this is going to end up being a function. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this for a second. So, and we have this point here and then this open point, which means that it doesn't exist right there. This is called a jump discontinuity, which you'll talk a lot more about in Algebra 2. But that makes this still a function because it's not occurring right there. So it stops here and then it jumps to this point right here. So this is still a function because of that. It's called a piecewise function, which again, you'll talk a lot more about in Algebra 2. So this is a function because it passes the vertical line test. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and do these ones on your own. Let me know if you've got any questions.